Well guys, welcome to the channel, and it has physically happened. EA has decided to basically nuke the entire Dragon Age Veilguard writing team, and as Groom said, rightfully so. The game was an absolute disaster. Let's check the articles guys, because it's just crazy, and also the SHILLS are now crying and they're saying that, oh, they're disappointed that EA doesn't have their backs anymore, that EA doesn't support their community. I'm talking about, of course, the the minority community, right? As in, do you ever think these corporation companies even cared about anyone? They just care about the money. I mean, it's just insane. So, first and foremost, guys, this is from this article here. It looks like and this is from VG247, by the way. It looks like the entirety of Dragon Age, the Veilguard's main credited writing team, is now no longer working at BioWare. Following the studio's latest bit of downsizing, the final few remaining writers appear to have disappeared. But what the unhinged part of this article from this person, from Mark Warren, is here, which is just ridiculous. He says, given that, despite what idiots on the internet might say, Veilguard was far from an unmitigated disaster of a game, even if it didn't hit the potential overzealous target of EA set for it financially. That it was not even overzealous, my friend. You don't even know about game sales. This is a AAA game which costed EA over $200 million. Do you believe that having 1.5 million sales is acceptable? That is trash. That is literally trash. Alright, it will be sad if indeed the entire writing team behind it, aside perhaps from some localizers who are listed as part of the other teams, have indeed either been shown the door or departed the studio on their own terms, especially since many were long-term Dragon Age series stalwarts who'd also worked on previous entries in the series. Now we have another article here. This is from the Larian head, and he said the following. I mean, this is crazy. On a pirate ship, they tossed the captain overboard. Larian head of publishing tears into EA after BioWare lays off waste institutional knowledge. A profit drop doesn't have to mean a closed shop. So what this, from Larian, what they're saying here effectively is that they should really fire also the big top heads, the big dogs of the company, of EA, and I agree. I mean, to be honest, they should fire the top of the top and also the workers who are basically not working as they should, and they're injecting their identity politics into the game and effectively running the game. I mean, do you guys remember this? Right, Dragon Age the Veilguard is the most obvious virtue signal that any DI hacks could possibly force into a game. Instead of working on a gameplay and fun, they are more concerned about building a story around gender and identity politics. They were keeping it hid as long as possible. I mean, that is crazy. The cope is hard on Dragon Age the Veilguard. If you had listened to fans in the first place, it would not be dead. You did this by inserting your political tribe and tanking the story and the game. Just look at these articles. I mean, the BioWare writer says Dragon Age isn't dead because it belongs to fans. I mean, what's this cope? Dragon Age writer Shirley Shih reassures fans who fear that the series is dead. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is dead because, I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's just incredible. All right, so let's just check more articles because this is the good one here. This is the quote from this, I think this person, I think she worked in Dragon Age, maybe, in the game development. Let's see what she has to say about the fact that she feels betrayed by EA. This is just quality, guys. Let's just check this out.
Because Veilguard chose to represent, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
However,
so she's saying that the game failed because Veilguard chose to represent. No, I'm very sorry. That was not the problem. The representation was fine. The problem was inserting identity politics up straight in your face and not giving us a fantasy dark RPG, which everyone was expecting. That was the problem.
it's just a lot. It's just a whole lot. Because now I'm in a position where I don't think BioWare is on my side. And I'm in a position now where for the first time, I don't think BioWare has the right intentions.
So, she thinks BioWare is not on her side, and she thinks that BioWare has not the right intentions. So, you have no idea what it means to make profit in the game industry, and also companies, corporations don't care about these agenda and politics. The only reason why they inserted these politics is because of the DEI craze, because they were literally getting government money from the Biden administration, because BlackRock was giving out loans to people between 2020 and 2024 to insert DEI stuff into video games. That's why these companies inserted this stuff in the game, not because they wanted to, not because they thought, oh, this is going to be great for the world, for the gaming. No, it's because they wanted the money. But guess what? Their expectation that gamers would buy their game, their DEI slop game, turned out to be wrong, and they lost a ton of money. Exclusive: BioWare employees worried about more layoffs. This is recently, by the way, as well as January 30th from Inside Gaming, and says the following: BioWare announcement on Wednesday has resulted in at least a few dozen people losing their jobs. They're also worrying about BioWare staff that more layoffs will be coming. Shortly after the company's big blog post, which was I think yesterday or 2 days ago, said that they didn't require support from the full studio. Sources reached out to tell Insider Gaming that the company has let go a number of people regardless of experience and tenure. That was confirmed when the game's head lead writer, Trick Weeks, posted on Blue Sky that he was looking for a new position. Shortly after that, narrative director Ryan Cornier stated that he also was let go. Multiple others also made posts saying that they were no longer with the company. The layoffs have many with BioWare concerned about the more layoffs in the coming weeks and months. One current employee said that they expect it to happen. I mean, of course, that's what happens when you flop. When you flop, you have to reset, re-engage, change everything, because if you don't change anything, your next game is gonna have the exact same problem. Common sense. You cannot release a new project with the same people that flopped your previous project. I mean, wake up, people. It feels like we're waiting for another wave, said another. If understood that while work is continuing to ramp up for the next Mass Effect game, an internal evaluation is also being done to see where things can be improved with development moving forward. Insider Gaming has reached out to EA and BioWare for comment on the amount of people being let go and the concerns from those spoken to who remain at the studio of more coming in the future year. Should a response be received, it will be added to the story. Yes, so as guys can see here, the company's stock fell down by 17%, as you can see here, and Dragon Age the Veilguard actually missed internal player expectations by roughly 50%. That is massive. I mean, if it was like 10%, right, I will be like, you know what, they did a good job, great stuff, but 50%, that means they missed the mark by a crazy amount, guys, and that's just incredible, right? Dragon Age the Veilguard developers and writers have been laid off, while development of next Mass Effect continues under the leadership of series veterans. So now the Mass Effect game is going to be held or led by the actual veterans, or we're hoping that with this, the writing of the game is going to be good, but we never know. We have no idea. Also, by the way, the Ghost of Tsushima sequel is being written by the same people that wrote Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, and Dragon Age Veilguard. It's over. I mean, this is really concerning, to be honest, guys. But yeah, that's the problem here. I mean, this is exactly the problem we have here. I think there was one more article here about the Dragon Age, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure where it was. It was here on this chain. I think, yeah, this one, interesting, whereas we have here, so yeah, this one here. This Kotaku reporter's cope about the Dragon Age the Veilguard is why game journalism will never figure out what gamers want. Source: Kenneth Shepard's personal Tumblr blog, because of course he is on Tumblr. So basically this person is saying that Dragon Age the Veilguard just went from a good RPG to one of BioWare's most important games. Excuse me, it was always BioWare's most important games. That's why when it flopped, guess what happens? They have to change course because they know that the game is going to be a disaster if they release another one under the same leadership. I mean, give me a break, man. Look at this one. Also, there's a new report that apparently Dragon Age the Veilguard previously reported 1.5 million figure of sales, apparently includes player count of Play Pro subscriptions service. This is EA Play Pro. This actually means that the actual pure sale figures is actually even lower than 1.5 million people. Lower than 1.5. So effectively, maybe their target of sales is actually missed by even more. Maybe 60, maybe even 70%. That is crazy. That is crazy. To each to their own, but from what I saw, it wasn't really I wasn't really tempted, and I'm talking away from all the culture war stuff. All right, so yeah, effectively, the people who you know, kind of like enjoyed this game, I think are people who maybe also enjoy the gender ideology aspect of it. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't enjoy the game myself. I mean, I played the game for 10 hours and the cringe I had to go through, and the dialogue, which was basically the dialogue which was written by, I don't know, a 15-year-old kid, pretty much. It was so cringy, so crappy, and honest to God, I never thought that a serious dark fantasy game like Dragon Age the Veilguard would even give us this shitty dialogue. And then we have the SHILLS, which are basically crying, and they're saying that, oh no, you know, the game is fine, the game is good, like, you know, it's not because of the the game they try to put anti-politics, is because, you know, like people hate us or whatever. No, wake up, people, wake up. The reason why this game failed is pretty damn obvious, and is because you don't spit in the face of gamers with your gender ideology inside the game. This is really important. If you try to make a fantasy game, but then you try to kind of like, I would say, I know, hijack the game with politics and with gender ideology and with dialogue which is basically cringy as hell, of course gamers will run away from it, because gamers want to go away from reality. They want to escape reality. They want to go to a fantasy world where they live in a fantasy world, and not being reminded that one of their friends or characters or, you know, companions is non-binary, and they want to talk about it in a fantasy setting, which just doesn't make any sense, because in a fantasy medieval setting, that kind of approach and dialogue is just cringy and just rips you off from the actual gameplay. That's just one example. Putting barfs, again, as an apology for misgendering someone in the game as well. I mean, come on, are you serious? Like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking when you were adding these things into the game? Like, this is just ridiculous, and this is why gamers stepped away from the game, because it just doesn't feel like it's immersive. It's almost like you're trying to educate someone in a HR room about your opinions on how society should behave in a freaking video game. I mean, come on, give me a break. But guys, that's it for today's video. As always, see you later in the next one.